Joey, in my eyes, man, like there should be hundreds more like him.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Repo Rod.
Well, that LT opened that door, man. I can remember right before I was passing out from lack of air, him throwing me in a chair, wrapped. And he was a big dude, man. Wrapped his arm around me like this, up underneath of my arms, and he said, "Hang on, man. I'm dragging you to medical." He pulled me in a chair backwards, supposedly all the way off the block, all the way down the corridors, which is quite a ways, and into the medical where they, banged me with several EpiPens. He got time off work for doing it. I ran into him, I want to say like maybe a couple of years after I was out. I came across him when I was out shopping somewhere. Walked up to him, man. I says, "Hey, you remember me?" He goes, "Hell yeah, I remember you. How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing okay now because of you." Because that night, I would have been dead in that cell by the time. It would have taken 30 to 45 minutes for security and everybody to get somebody to come and open the door. And I said, "Man," I stuck my hand out and he stuck his out. I shook his hand. I said, "Thanks for saving my life that night. I appreciate it." He said to me, "Man, you was a stand-up dude in there. And I respected you, man. You did what you had to do, but you never gave me a hard time. And if I gave you an order, whatever, I did my job." And I said, I respect you for that. I don't see him much. I might run across him like maybe every 6 months or something, but I run across him like, "Man, you want to grab some lunch or something?" Because he's retired now and everything, and he could do it without getting fired, I guess, or whatever. He was a cool dude. I'd pass him walking down the halls. He'd be like, giving me the thumb. "How you doing, man? Everything all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, everything's good." There's not a lot of them. There's a lot of shithead COs in there. And I'm not going into no race thing here, but being a white dude where I was, I think the population was 75% plus black inmates, like
Hispanic,
10, 12% Hispanic, and, other. I think white was like 3% of the population in the prisons that went on.
That's how it is in Connecticut. Same way.
Yeah. And I mean, that flipped, believe it or not, later, like a few years after that. And it was like, I want to say 40 Hispanic, 40 black, Asian, this, that. And it was still low numbers in white population within there. But I didn't have no problem with nobody, man. I didn't get mixed up in the bullshit in there. I stayed to myself, did my thing, in and out.
Never ran across another member in there?
Not an HA, no. I ran across a couple of pagans, 2 or 3 pagans, one outlaw. I can't remember. There was a dude from another state. He was something, but I don't remember what he was. But, if I learned they were something, man, do we have an issue, whatever, walk right? Nah, man, we're good. I mean, hopefully you'll podcast with another dude that I was talking to, and I remember a story he told me, man. He knew there was a dude on his block. Rather than having found him, he went right up, approached the cat like, "Yo, man, if we got to get it on, let's get it on right now." Nah, man, we're locked up. It's old school rule. You're locked up. You're not flying your colors in there, man. You just do what you got to do. If it comes to it, yeah, you gotta do what you got to do. But don't make it happen if you don't have to make it happen.
Same way the mob approaches the situation. The mob, if they're fighting out in the street, when they come to prison, there is none of that.
Right. Yep. Philly had some good dudes, and Joey Molina was a great guy in Philly. I don't care what anybody says, man. The dude was a stand-up dude, not a rat. Stand-up dude. You wish everybody could be stand-up that comes through your lifetime.
Have you ever met Joey along your travels throughout life?
I met Joey years ago, working in Philly, doing some work down You know, I think on the street that was like his cousin lived on or something, and did a job over at like 12th and Catherine, which was a big hangout spot next door. Joey, in my eyes, man, like there should be hundreds more like him. Get rid of law enforcement, let the mafia run the law enforcement. We wouldn't have half the problem we have today.
Yeah, right. I agree.
You know,
when you get out of prison, do you grab your patch right back up? Like what happens?
No. I had to walk off like 4.5 more years on parole. I had the first dude I had, they were all connected to the Marshal Service and stuff, all my agents. First dude, he was like nothing but a ball busting prick. He was a genuine, you know, if I possibly can find a way to violate you, I will violate you. You know, he'd call you at 9 o'clock at night. Be in my office tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock and be sure you can take a piss. Really? And I'd have to drive all the way into Trenton, like an hour or more to get there. Yeah, make sure you can pee in my little cup when you get there. Like, really, dude? So if you're and then he wouldn't come out for like an hour after you were supposed to be there, just being a dick. And then he wants to stand there, you know, like the general population doesn't know how it is. It's like, go into the public restroom, hold your shit in your hand, turn, and show the guy standing next to you that you do not know the junk, and pee in a cup that he's giving you while he watches you. Okay, man, like that's some parole officers. That's some.
It's hard to do.
Know?
It's hard. I don't know what to tell.
Especially in the beginning, man, when you're on the incept and you first get locked up and you move from county to state. If you can't pee, you go to the bucket. I don't know how they're like different states, but Pennsylvania, if you cannot pee in that cup, you go into the bucket. Straight up, 60 days in the hole.
Yeah, they'll put you in a dry cell.
Yeah.
They give you a certain amount of time.
Yep. But that I remember when and it's like, you know, how many times do I have to like spread my ass crack with men looking at me? You know, if you're gay, I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. If you're gay, you do your own thing. That's cool. But I'm not. You know, I got a couple of friends of mine that are gay. You do you, and I'm good. They don't, you know, bleed it over to me. I don't feel uncomfortable around them. I'm not. But you know, you gotta lift your junk up. Let me look at your junk. Bend over, spread your ass cheeks, and cough for me. Sometimes I wish I would have ate something where I had the runs and could have coughed and like shit all over their shoes.
I'm sure it happened.
Like here. Oh, I'm sure. I'm like, I got something for you. Yeah. Probably wouldn't have got out to my visit that day or something, you know.
Was there any situations in prison that happened that stand out in your mind, like any major fights or anything like that?
I'm gonna say, like when I had got up to Graterford, SCI Graterford, they call you the banana bunch. Then you're in a yellow jumpsuit. That's how you start out in the state as they process you and everything. I can remember there being a real young kid next to me. He did like a robbery or something. Kid was like 19, maybe 20, little white kid from out in the farm country. And he got locked up for it and got sent upstate, and he was so petrified of being in jail. He would hide in the corner of his cell. And, you know, they popped the door. You got like, I'm going to say 3 seconds to get downstairs and into the chow hall to eat in 1 minute and race back up to lock in. This kid was not coming down. I'd come back with like, if I could smuggle a piece of fruit or something or a couple slices of bread back on me. And I would walk by his door, man, and throw it in his door like, yo, man, just be cool. Eat that, man. It's something. I told him the one day, come on, man, when they unlock the door, get out here, man. If you're scared, go with me. We'll sit at the same table, man. We'll come back up. I'll make sure you get back in your hut safe. It took a couple of days of telling him that. he came down and he would start eating, chow. I think it was this went on for maybe like a week and a half, and we're all locked in one morning, and there like you could look out the little window in the door, and you could see this clock down the block, and we're like, wow, chow's like breakfast is like 2 hours late already, and I hear all this commotion. Well, they drug him out, or they actually had to leave him hanging up until the state police came to do an investigation, and they wrapped him up in the sheet, drug him out in the hallway, and left him laying there. This is a young kid. Once they cleared it, and then they popped the doors, and everybody could go to chow. So you had to walk past this dead kid laying wrapped up in a sheet that hung up in his hut that night. Took the sheet, and clearly, that kid needed some mental health help. And here's this young 19-year-old kid, and he told me I got arrested for stealing. Here he is, 19, not even 20 years old yet, and was so petrified of being in there that he himself.
Wow.
I can remember seeing fights in there where dudes had dropped 2-3 padlocks into, not the sock night. Get out on that block and somebody did something, boy, them locks is coming in the sock, man. And whew. That's brutal when you see a cat getting, beat up with the padlocks in a sock.